Good afternoon, everybody. It's Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. SweeneyTV. Sean Swiss Sweeney, Sweeney HQ. And we've got a barber coming in today from Holland. I believe he's in Rotterdam. His name is Rob. Rob, the Bloody Butcher, as he's known on Instagram. And we're going to have a good chat today about all things barbering. And we're going to cover a number of subjects today with Rob, and we're going to have a lot to talk about his experience. So, Rob, how long have you been barbering? When did you get into it, buddy? And give us a bit of your background.
I started barbering at the age of 14, the tender age of 14, man. And it just kind of started as well, I wouldn't say a hobby, but I was this skateboarding kid, you know, smoking weed all day long. That was one of the main things that I wanted to do, ride my skateboard and smoke my weed, man. So and I think we've all been 14. I certainly hope so. Because at that age, you know, friends are the most important thing you got, right? And friends, skateboarding, music. And what I found out is that a lot of my musical influences, rockabilly, punk rock, but also like hip hop, because NWA just came out with Straight Outta Compton. And, you know, I was coming from a really small town in the Netherlands, and the hairdressers, I mean, barbering was completely dead in the Netherlands. I don't think I ever saw a barbershop actually in the town that I lived in, but these friends of mine, they wanted these haircuts, you know, so they wanted to have mohawks, they wanted to have a pompadour, quiffs, psychobilly quiffs, flat tops, but there were not really barbershops or hairdressers in town that could do them. So what happened was, you know, we would be at my place, and my dad used to have a pair of clippers, and we would watch a skate video or whatever, and we would smoke some weed and, you know, get really stoned. And then one of my friends would be like, "Hey man, I want to have a mohawk, man." And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'll do it." But and then I found out, because, you know, if you ever done a Mohican haircut, you're gonna find out it's actually a super hard haircut, man, because getting that stripe in the middle, because you start here and you think, oh, I pulled the clipper back. So, but then for the first time I found out, oh, wait a minute, you know, because of the shape of the head, the clipper is actually pushed in. So, you know, the mohawk would end up being somewhere here. But it really got me interested because it was a super fun job, you know, and what I really like, I mean, I was actually quite a good a student in school, but the thing is, my brain works like, I'm very creative, but I want things to happen right away. See, that's why even in hairdressing business, doing a color, not my thing, man. Waiting 45 minutes, hoping that my highlights come out right, that's not my thing. I want to do this and see the result right away. So, yeah, man. So I started at 14, and I think at the age of 16, I was kicked out of high school. I was really screwing up, man, doing a lot of drugs already. I was a problem child in school, man. But I was really good at skateboarding, so I actually dreamed that was going to be my career. Well, I didn't end up being a pro skateboarder, but my mom, she was like, "The fuck, what are you going to do with your life?" And I was like, "Well, you know what, Mom? I want to be a hairdresser." And not even a barber, because I just wanted to cut hair. For me, it was not like really a thing. It was girls or guys. You know, I was trying everything at home. I screwed up a lot of haircuts back in those days, but I'm pretty much a self-made guy, man. I just, you know, there was no YouTube, no Vimeo or whatever. You know, I just had to kind of find out, man. But it was super cool because I had these rockabilly guys coming in with records, you know, and they went like, "Well, these are the straight cats, man. I want hair like that, and you got to do it like that. You got to leave it this long there, and then you got." So, you know, and these were like big fucking scary guys, man. You did not screw up those haircuts. So, yeah. To make a long story even longer, they kicked me out of high school, and I ended up in beauty school, which was terror, absolute terror. I had no idea. You know, they gave me a bag, huge. I don't know how it goes over at your. But we get a bag, man. We get a big pink bag. So I opened the bag and I thought it was going to be all this cool shit inside. But, you know, there was a chopped off hat, which was kind of cool. But there were rollers, papers, all this stuff. It was like, the fuck, you know. So I went to the hairdressing school, which was like, you know, you had to go to school one day and then you had to find a job for 4 or 5 other days. So that was actually kind of cool. So, but I ended up going to the school, man. I was the only guy with 28 girls. Now that sounds like a dream, right? But it's not, man. It's cool when you're 3 guys in the class with 28 girls, but being one guy, oh my God, these ladies.
Yeah, brother, I've been there. I've been there as well.
Fuck, man, it's a hard time because they make fun of you. And what are you going to do? You think you're the cool guy, but you're not, man. You're just like very vulnerable in this class, you know, they knew all my emotions, blah, blah. Well, you know what I mean. You know, it was kind of fun though. But first day in school, okay, take out your, the mannequin head, put it on a pole and start and all these girls, you know, it was their big dream to become a hairdresser. I didn't know fucko, you know, so these girls all took out these rollers, you know, and they started doing the panels, the 9 panels. And they were just like, you know, roller, paper, pick. And I was just standing there, man, pick under one arm, paper in my mouth. Just try. I was like, oh my God, this is so not what I want to do. And I couldn't find a job because I was 15 or 16, I don't know, something like this. I had green hair, you know, so, and this is, we're talking 30 years ago, you know, I mean, I was a punk rock kid and that was not a big thing where I came from. And so I tried to find a job in this town where I live, but everybody's like, fuck off, man. You cannot work here with green hair. So I ended up working in the salon, like a real salon, super posh. And the owner was like, dude, we got it. So they dyed my hair. They gave me a perm, man. They gave me a fucking perm. I was like, no, it was terrible. You know,
how long did you have that? It must have been quite long. You had.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there was a time when I actually had hair. Yeah, I had quite long hair. Well, actually, you know what I found out? That the perm, because my hair used to be super straight, so the perm actually helped to blow dry my hair into my pompadour later on. But I didn't know shit, man. So I ended up in this salon. It was horrible. I almost quit the whole hairdressing thing. It was really posh. It were old ladies. You know, have you ever, because 30 years ago, you know what happened? You had these old ladies that came in one time a month to do a perm and to do the hot
blue rinse.
Yeah, you know, to put in the rollers. So, but these women thought that, you know, they went once a month and they left, they just like kind of hairsprayed it every day, sleeping with a net. So then you had to wash their hair after a month, man. So that smelled, and you know, and they had these boils, you know, that would break when you wash the hair, all this yellow shit coming out. It was like, no, man. So thank God I found a job at this other shop, completely different. And this guy that owned that shop, he was like, well, if you're gonna work here, you gotta make money, man. So I'm gonna show you how to cut hair, and I'm gonna show you how to do it properly, and blah blah. And he was a barber, so he just was like, yeah, I'm gonna teach you how clipper work and blah blah. So that's how shit started. Thank God, because you know I was not a talented hairdresser at all in the beginning.
So he was originally your first mentor in barbering.
Yeah.
And what was that guy's name?
His name was Rene. Rene.
You're watching. Thank you for keeping our barber brother in the game and keeping his passion alive. But carry on, Rob. Sorry for interrupting.
No, he was really, really good. But this was back in the time. His name was not Rene. It was Rene, you know, like, and in Dutch we say, hey, Rene. But this was back when all the hairdressers took on, you know, my name's Rob. Actually, it's Robert. But back in those days, I would probably have been Robert. You know, hairdressing was different, man. It was, but thank God, he was like, you know what? You come, Friday was my day off. And he saw that I was really unhappy, you know, because back then when you were a apprentice, you know, you had to wash, sweep the floor, blah, blah, blah. Of course, you know, and perm, and you know what you also had to do? I don't know how old you are, but back then you had coupe soleil, which was this plastic that you put over, and then you had this needle. And you had and you had to pull these little strands of hair, you know, and then bleach them. Oh man, looked absolutely horrendous. You know, when they had like, and then they would do a scissor over comb, and you would look like a fucking panther. But Oh man, so you started the day, you know, being all like Robert, doing the little, but in the end of the day, it would be like, fuck, man, sticking the needle in. Well, whatever. I was really unhappy. He was like, you know what? You come on Friday, you bring your mates, and I'll teach you how to do it proper. And that really, and he did, and he, so the cool thing was he was a really good hairdresser, very technical hair cutter, but he started as a classic barber. So, you know, he really mixed like super classic hairdressing, doing all my sectioning, but also just a flipping on the guard and start fading away. So that combination, that was great, man. So I learned from a guy that was super all round, and he was very supportive of me. And so within 3 months, I was doing men's haircuts. That's how I started.
That's an amazing backstory, bro. And obviously now you've been, you know, you've been in the game a very long time. I've been in it 27 years now, and I've had my shop 7 years. But again, like going on to your, you know, your shop, your business. Let's have a little chat about opening up with your barber brothers. I've been watching your educational videos now for over 5 years. And I always send my students to watch your backstory on YouTube, because it's some brilliant vintage videos, the way it's done. I really like that. We'll talk about that a bit later, but let's go into your shop, brother.
So the shop, okay. So I give super long answers, man. If you want to interrupt, just go like, Rob, time out, because I usually get off the tracks a little bit. But this is what happened, right? I am a very what's the right word? I don't know what it is in English. I'm pretentious. No, pretentious. Ambitious. You know. So, and you got to understand that. Well, it's not bragging when it's the truth. I worked hard for this motherfucker. So, and I really, really love to do haircuts. Back when I was 16, 17, I fell in love with this girl. She was living in my hometown, which is up in the north of the Netherlands, but she moved all the way to the south. So I was completely in love. It was my first big love. I mean, a lot of shit that happened in my life actually had to do with the big loves, of course, you know. So I chased her, and I needed a job. So I looked around town, and I entered this shop, and there was this dude working there, and man, I'll never forget. He had like long hair in a braid. You know, he had this beard that was it looked like it was drawn on with a Sharpie. And he was putting shampoo bottles on the shelf like this. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to work here, man. This dude was like, he was this skinny. And that was Lane, who became my business partner later in life. But so I was kind of turned off by this dude, man. But we started talking, and it was love at first sight, man. That's all I can make of it. We started talking, we laughed, and I think I stayed there for 6 hours or something, just laughing, talking. He just opened that shop. I later found out he was 16 when he opened that shop. 16, he was the owner of a shop, because this is Lane in a nutshell, man. He is like your diehard entrepreneur. But I was more of a creative guy, but he got me into to working not with him, but the company he was working for, because this was like multiple
like a chain.
Yeah, under one roof. It was like a chain, but yeah. So you had to pay fee to carry the name. It's I don't actually know.
I think we call it is franchising over here.
Yeah, franchise. Absolutely, that is the right word. Actually, I didn't know it was the same in English. So franchising. So because of him, I ended up in the town where I live now, to Rotterdam. So I applied for a job there. It was a very funky shop. And you got to imagine, I was this dude from the north, a little bit of a farm boy, you know. I was not from a small town. I went to Rotterdam, which is like one of the biggest towns in the Netherlands. It was kind of scary, you know. So I walk into this shop with my red mohawk, which was about this high. I had this long red sweater on. I was not, you know, nobody would actually hire me because I looked absolutely mental already then. I had makeup on and everything. But this shop, I walked in, and everybody working there was just like, oh my God, I'm going to do his hair. I'm going to do his hair. So I was like, well, that was something I was not used to. You know what? When I came to Rotterdam, they pulled that really old joke on me. I wanted to take the tram, and the tram driver looked at my mohawk. He was like, "Son, how old are you?" I said, "I'm 17." And he went like, and I go, "Why?" He said, 17 years ago, I fucked a peacock. You might be my son. That was my introduction to Rotterdam, man. I fucking fell in love. I was like, what? You know, I was super shy.
Yeah.
And this dude says something like this. So I walk into the shop. People working there, they were so into hairdressing, man. They were absolute hairdressing junkies, man. They were, this was so new to me. I was quite young. They introduced me to Fidel Sassoon, Tony and Guy. You know, I had no idea. Again, no internet. So what I knew was from a couple of books. And a couple that owned that shop, we became really close friends really soon, because they didn't know I was actually living on the streets back then. You know, I was living in trains and everything. I was still squatting. This was kind of, so they took me into their house, which was insane because they were a couple, but they lived above the shop and they had a spare room, and we were just doing hair, man. So we would work all day on clients, and after that we would train every night. We would try new ideas. And so I really, really fell in love with hairdressing. So I was very ambitious. I wanted to become famous, man. So I worked my ass off. So I actually ended up doing stage work around the world. You know, I traveled with Trevor Sorby, you know, opening for his big show. I worked for the big brands. So I was on stages in Turkey, Greece, whatever. But the thing that was really kind of hurtful, that when I traveled with Trevor Sorby, and he was with, I was on the bus with, what's his name? Seminari. Really, really, really great hairdresser from Italy. And Angelo Seminari, I don't know, whatever. He was, but these dudes, man, they were so good, so crazy good. And I must have been about 22 then, 23, I don't know exactly, but I realized, and this is a difficult point in life, especially at that age, that I was not ever gonna be at their level. They were just, but see, I was traveling with the absolute top. So that kind of got me into a depression, kind of wanted to quit the whole, and you got to understand, first of all, before I go further, I've been clean and sober for 2.5 years now, but I've been on a bender for 25 years. So, you know, partying hard, not sleeping, combined with getting depressed from realizing that my big dream wasn't really going to happen, you know. I sold my shop. I was really down at that time. And funny enough, I went back to basics. So for me, barbering. So I was living in this huge squat, right? Great fucking place. It had everything: electricity. It had the internet. It had everything. So, and I had 4 floors. They were all mine. So I built a skateboard ramp on the 3rd floor. I was living on the 4th floor. Grew me a little weed on the attic, and on the 1st floor, I had 2 barber chairs that I found somewhere. And, you know, and this was a really cool time because it was kind of a speakeasy. So I was living in the squat. I wasn't paying rent. I wasn't paying taxes, you know. And so this thing
Sounds like heaven to most people, bro.
Yeah. But back then it was even better. Yeah. See, it was, but the cool thing was, you know, you had to have my number. So it was kind of a secret in Rotterdam. So you had to know this guy, you know. And so I had this little barber shop in my squat, and Lane, my business partner now, he would drop by pretty much every day. I mean, it was a party place, you know. You came for a haircut, and we're talking about 12, 13 years ago now. So, but what we found out is that, and it was just guys, you know, so they sat there, had their haircut, and what we found out is they didn't want to leave. They came early, and because it became something of you know, because you had to know me, it became,
it was like a social club.
Yeah, but very secret, because and I had to be careful because the police, man, I had weed in the attic. I had to be careful. I was doing some a business on the side, and so a lot of people entered that house all the time. So it was like, damn, I gotta keep a little bit of a low pro. I gotta stay under the radar, But it was the best fucking time. And so Lane always brought beers. So all these clients saw, oh, I gotta bring beers because I want to be one of the club, So all of a sudden, not paying rent, and had free beers. I don't even know why I started that shop, man, because we were doing really good there. Well, long story short, it was such a good place, and it became, everybody just, yeah. So Lane and myself, we were like, you know what?
You open a shop.
We got some very, very special here. So how can we take this and move it to a shop and turn it into a business? So that took about another year, maybe year and a half, because but it became like a thing. But the cool thing is, it's hard to believe now, but we were both on a crossroad in our lives, man. And if there was one thing that we didn't expect, we opened Schorem with the idea to have some good times together again and figure out where we wanted to go with our lives. So this project was like, being ambitious. This was the least ambitious project we ever started on, because this was more like, we're going to do this for the rockabillys. We're going to do this for the skaters. We're going to do this we are going to do this for the scumbags in town, man. The people that don't like to go to a salon.
Well, that leads me into my next question perfectly, brother. Obviously, the rumor is you go to your shop, you have to queue up outside in the morning 2 hours before to get a seat. That's how busy you are. And then on top of that, then you can only have the haircuts which are on the wall. You can't have what you want. You have to pick a certain style. And I imagine that is a very sort of it's a very out there business model, which a lot of barbers would be like, ooh, whoa, but you guys seem to smash it and nail it every time, bro. And that's what I want to talk about next. Like, where did that idea come from?
That was not even so much of an idea as something that kind of happened when we opened the shop. Because, I really, really love to do my pompadour haircuts. And this is not really answering, this would be another question, but I think that men's hair is basically one or two haircuts. 90% is a flat top. Some of them are a little bit longer, some of them are a little bit shorter, but if you grow out a perfect flat top for 4 months, you're going to end up with a perfect a pompadour, man. Especially when you taper the nape, that shape is going to stay perfect, right? So there is a little bit of thought behind it, but so we opened the shop. Now, before we go for the first 4 months, there was nobody there. So just so you know, man, because everybody thought it was an instant thing, but that wasn't true. But there is a couple of things. So first of all, marketing. Yeah, we when I was working in my squad, there was this big group of guys making jokes, horrible stories. Well, my ex-wife, actually, back then, there's a lot I could say about her, but she was pretty, man. So all these guys were there, but when she would come down to go like, Rob, it's time for dinner or whatever, she would walk in, and she was a looker, man. So all these guys were just like, it went silent. So that was the inspiration to put a sign on the door like men only. And I know that now everybody's like super woke and everything. I'm probably going to get some shit over it right now, but 13 years ago, it was just a good joke and it got people talking. Yeah, because that was our product, man. That's what we did. It was just no long hair. It was just like those haircuts. So, but the sign on the door definitely made people talk. They were like, what? Well, you can do this, blah, blah. I said, well, we're doing it. So, and then that shop, it's a beautiful, beautiful shop. The back bar that we got, it's 120 years old, untouched, absolutely beautiful piece. And the funny thing is, because now there are so many barbershops, but 13 years ago in the Netherlands, I can tell you one thing, man. I got 2 of my barber chairs from a guy that had them in his shed, you know, and he were like, hey, can you take them? They're in the way. People had no idea of the worth of some of this stuff, man. It was not a thing anymore, you know. So
what chairs were they?
I got 2. No, I actually got 1 Belmont and 1 Koch. They were in the way. His grandfather was I don't even know where he got them, but through a friend of mine.
Are they German made, them chairs?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I got
quality chairs then.
It's dude, we've had them for but now they go for 5,000 euros or whatever. And he was just like, oh, they're in the way, you know. It was so we filled up the shop with antiques. Now we would dress up every day. Yeah. So we were wearing 3-piece suits, because if you do marketing, you got to do it right. Yeah. And especially then, people were laughing at us. You know, when we went to the Chamber of Commerce, I had the handlebars, you know, and Lane grew his beard. We got the tattoos, you know, and we were wearing the suits. We walked in, everybody was like, oh, what's up with the gay couple? You know, it was, you know, we were so outrageous looking, because nobody, that combination, like the suits with the tattoos and the beards, nobody could really put a finger on what are these guys, man. And then we gave that shop that absolutely ridiculous name, which it translates as scumbags, but it's not really, it's so much better in Dutch. It's way worse in Dutch. It's a dirty word, man. When we went to the Chamber of Commerce, the girl behind the counter was like, what? Schorem? You can't call your shop Schorem. I mean, it's literally calling your shop assholes, you know, something like, it's really bad. But there's a little bit of wordplay in there. So, but the cool thing was, you know, we said, well, can you call a lawyer or whatever? And she was like, well, I have to check. Oh, yeah, no, there is no, apparently there is no law that you call your shop whatever, you know? So we are waiting in the Chamber of Commerce, and you know what they do when it's your turn? They call your name over the speakers. Oh. So it was, can you imagine? It was super busy, over the speakers, assholes. We stood up, you know, but this is marketing, man. Everybody in the Chamber of Commerce that day went home and told their wives and children, you're never going to believe what happened today. These 2 outrageous looking dudes called themselves scumbags or whatever you want to call it. So they were talking about us before the shop was even a fact. Can you imagine when you have this beautiful looking shop? Absolutely. We spend so much money on just how the shop looks, because that is what people are going to remember. Then you got these 2 punks dressed up completely. We were the talk of the town, but now it was important that we got people in. Now, in the beginning, it was kind of hard, but then I actually had a friend of mine who worked at this super hip cocktail bar. So, and he's a good looking dude, man. Girls want to be with him. Guys want to be him, you know, working out, tattoos, beautiful hair. But I gave him, you know, and I knew him from the rockabilly scene. And he had a pompadour, but it wasn't really working on him, that pompadour. He had a horrible cowlick hair, you know. So he had to, and he was going to the gym all the time. He was using grease, and he was like, Rob, I can't take this anymore, man. You got to shave it up. But it was such a good looking haircut on that guy. And, you know, I was like, you know what? Can I try something? Say that. Yeah. I was like, I want to try something before I shave it off. Can I try? And he was like, yeah, sure. If you can shave it off afterwards. So what I did is, I took the crown area, I took that and I made a parting, and I shaved everything away on one side, and I did this flat. I said, look, dude, you can still have the pompadour, the hard, but because you can do this, you know, the hard part is gone. Well, actually, I shaved in a hard part the next time he was there. Yeah. So, and I gave him a can of, I think it was the Suavecito or something, you know, like, and that was really hard to come by back then. It's hard to imagine now, but we had to import that shit from America. There were no distributors or whatever. This was, you know, we had Layrite, guy hates us, but we love the product. So we had Layrite, we had Suavecito, and this guy was hooked. He was hooked. He was like, he came back. He was like, Rob, this haircut, man, this haircut. So that was the first time I did what we later called the Scumbag Boogie. And, you know, so I had this absolutely gorgeous dude working in one of the hippest bars with a haircut that nobody had seen before in town, you know? So I did the hard part. From there on, I mean, now I can almost like shoot myself with that Scumbag Boogie, because that was, I'm not gonna lie, man, that was one of the only haircuts everybody wanted. Everybody came in with their haircut. But hey, great. And you know what happened then? One of the star players of the Rotterdam soccer team came in and got that haircut.
No way.
Yeah. So, and he was playing for Feyenoord, and, you know, and after that, somehow, there was actually another, some weird TV show came over. That's a really long story. I'll make it shorter, but there was I said something really stupid or crazy. That became the TV moment of the week in the Netherlands' biggest TV show on the line. So everybody's like, who are these guys? So they invited us to come to that show. And all of a sudden we were doing our story, doing a shave in the studio in front of 2 million Dutch people. And then from there on, things went absolutely insane, because we told our story on TV, like, yeah, man, we do one haircut. But what people underestimate is, you know where salons go wrong? They want to do it all. We only do one haircut. Now you can laugh about that, but you know what happens when you only do one haircut? You get really fucking good at them. So people, we got the reputation.
Good advice.
Yeah, you know, we got the reputation for, if you walk into that shop, you're gonna walk away with the best haircut in the Netherlands. And that is, I mean, that is raising the bar super high. But you should not be afraid to say this about yourself. All this talk about being humble, you should be humble.
Yeah.
But
I agree, bro. I agree. If you got it, own it. Own it, bro.
Dude, absolutely. Right? You shouldn't brag about it.
If you can take it to the next level by being a little bit more arrogant, if it works for you, do it.
Hey,
right?
Yeah. Because, you know, you worked so hard to get where you are. I trained my ass off for almost 10 years. Every night I practice. That's how you get good. But then when you get successful and people come from all around the world to get a haircut, and that was the fun thing, because Facebook was kind of new when we started. So, you know, we were posting these haircuts and people loved it, man. And we were very open to everybody who wanted to learn or got tips. So on the internet, we were just going like blah, 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 blah. And then we made the 2 posters. And those 2 posters, that changed everything for us, because
we'll lead it into the posters. That was one of my questions. Is the names you got for each cut as well? Have you modeled them around music industry or fashion? Or anything like that?
No,
or you guys just made them up?
Not well, a little bit, because what happened was this, and these posters, you know why these posters I think did so well? First of all, we don't use the Photoshop. We never use Photoshop to make a haircut look better. That is one thing. We don't use filters. I mean, we use the Photoshop to make a photo prettier. Absolutely. But we're not going to blur out fades or whatever, you know, because we sell a product that's real. So everybody on that poster was a client. Yeah, 13 years ago, I was working. I just met the guy that has been doing our photography for the last 10 years, but we got to know each other making the posters. Now, literally what happened is, you know, I wanted to have a flat top on the photo. So the first client that walked in with a great flat top, I was like, hey, you want to be a model for this poster we're making? So there are people on those posters, you know, big, small, some are pretty, some are not so pretty, but it's your average Joe, man. That is your clientele. You know, there's no Brad Pitt on there. There is no Johnny Depp on there. You know, we're not doing, because when are those people are going to walk in? No, you know, and this was so brilliant, man, because we made those, we had so much fun making the poster. We made a lot of people feel really good about themselves for being models. So they talked about that in town. And then when the posters went to print, you know, some of the names are like super classic, like Flat Top, Pompadour, Slickback. But this Scumbag Boogie, I mean, Schorem translated scumbag, and then you had like a boogie, you know, you dance with your haircut. And it's also, you got the Flat Top a boogie, which is a haircut from the 40s. I came up with that name a week before the posters went to print. I just thought, oh, this is super funny. But that name, if you go on Instagram now with the hashtag Scumbag, you get about 100,000 hits. That's pretty cool, man. There's another one on the post called a Scumpador that never really got big. So, but you know, we made these posters as a menu for our shop. So I thought, you know, and then we put them, and then Lane saw them and he was like, oh man, these are pretty cool. Maybe we should try to sell them, you know? And I was like, well, I don't know. So we put them on Facebook. We made a 50 of the pink one, 50 of the blue one, put them on Facebook. They were sold out in 7 minutes, man. Wow. And so we made like then we made 20,000. Well, they are still.
Have you still got any more copies stashed away for me, bro?
Oh man, you can absolutely, man. Yeah, but you know,
I'll check it up in my shop, bro. I have a nice wall which will fit.
I will send you a pair. But you know what's crazy about the posters? Yeah, we sold thousands of them, thousands around the world, and I mean, they're everywhere. And you know what's cool? Because first of all, guys don't want to take a book, go like, can I have this? Phones were not allowed in our shop because we wanted people to talk to each other. But a guy can do, hey man, can I have that one? And you know, when you look at these posters, the haircuts are good, but they're far from perfect. So a lot of barbers around the world probably go like, dude, you can have that, but better. And that's why we sold so many posters, because it's good, but it's not something you cannot reproduce. It's very, very human posters, man. It's, and
I did notice that nobody tried copying you, which kept it, because it was a vintage look with your customers. And like you said, you didn't go for supermodels. You didn't go for this sort of like copying everybody else. You did your own thing. And like you said, it started off as a menu for your shop, turned into an international, world famous poster. Do you know what I mean? And it's part of our barbering history now. And again, like going into your shop with your team, you've got a massive team. Let's have a talk about your team and your team members. And I was watching one of your videos with one of your new guys who traveled over to work with you. And he was giving his backstory about how he'd come to you guys, and he'd come for a haircut first and said that he was a barber, and then he took him on. Is that right?
Yeah, man. That was our first apprentice, actually. And see, this name Scumbags, it came from somewhere. Like I told you before, and, you know, I want to keep your channel clean, so I'm not going to tell everything. But, you know, I was doing a lot of side. I was known in town. Lane was known as well, you know. We used to do some petty crimes, you know, if you needed anything to whatever, you know, I was the guy. So
you were the hookup guy.
Yeah, you know.
And Rob.
But the funny thing is, that is what we barbers are. And we've been from and this is, see, I am a sucker for history. So I've got this one little rough side, maybe, you know, I love being out on the street.
For the weekend, sir?
Yeah, exactly. You know, condoms and stuff. But it was also when you would ride into town, especially in the cowboy area, the first place you went, you know, because you wanted to go to the brothel and everything. But what you did first was get a shave and look and get cleaned up. They had the bathhouse in the back. But the thing is, the owners of the saloons or whatever, they would pay the barber because he's the fucking spider in the web. So whatever you needed, the barber shop and taxi drivers have always been the guys to ask. Always. This is almost a historical thing, man.
It's interesting, Rob. You actually said that we are, like, no one said that before. We are like spiders because we've got different links to everybody. A lot of people, if you need a plumber, you speak to your barber about it, and he'll hook you up with a plumber. You need a builder, you need a guy with cars, you need, you know, you need whatever. We are that link, and that's very good. You pointing that out.
Yeah, because and it's always been like this, man. You know what? Back in the days, all the important people in town, when they had a big meeting, you know, in the town hall, they went to the barber in the morning, man. Barber knew before, actually, you know, so
Well,
he was the newspaper.
Unless you lived in London in the 16th century and you went to see my great great uncle, most of them wouldn't come home.
Yeah, you know, the weird thing.
That was a Sweeney Todd joke.
Which is did he end
You know,
up in the pie?
The butcher.
Yeah. I have to listen very carefully, man, because
no problem, man. I was just going to get a little joke up there, but go on, brother. Go on, keep going. So talk about you. We're talking about your team and
no. Before we go further, you know, the biggest newspaper in France is called Le Figaro.
Oh, okay.
You know what it means? It means the barber, man.
No way.
Yeah, Le Figaro, the hairdresser. This is where the name comes from. Before social media, we were your Instagram, man. We were your newspaper.
The boys up Lamrumney by me, they used to call me News of the World because I used to know all the stories.
Yeah, but that's it, man. You know you know what? People always tell me, Rob, what is the success? Are you so good at haircuts? I said, no, man. Every client leaves my shop with a good joke, a bad joke, and a great story. I said, that is the secret. And if you don't get that, you're never going to be successful, man. You want to make them part of what's going on in your shop. And that team that we got, you know, we actually, when we were looking for our first apprentice, and it was hard to find somebody because there were no barbershops left in the Netherlands. So we couldn't find the type to fit. So what did we do? We do what we always do when we have a problem to solve. We went to the bar. And there was this little vermin walking around, you know, and I loved him straight away. I could tell he was selling little white baggies, you know, he was working in the bar to pick up the glasses, but, you know, being a hustler, you recognize hustlers, man.
You needed a cover story. You needed a reason to be there.
Got it, you know, and everybody knew he was the guy. You could tell, man, you know how to, so, but this guy was so charming, you know, he had the smile. And seriously, he went to every girl. He had no shame. Every girl, he was like, hey, baby. He was like shameless. And Lane and me were like, that's the guy, man. That is the dude. So I went up to him, and I actually knew him from skate. I knew him vaguely. And he had a haircut at my shop once. And I was like, hey, man, is this your only job? And he goes like, no, man, I'm a garbage man. I said, well, you know what? You wanna work with us? And he was like, I don't want to be a hairdresser. I said, no, man, you're gonna be a barber. Well, I said, let me tell you one thing. Yeah. First of all, I know what you're selling here. Yeah. Which is great, because if you can sell cocaine, you can definitely sell a pomade. Yeah. So that is one thing.
Crazy.
And then
you guys out in Holland live the lives, man.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was obvious. And then I said something that actually, I think, changed his perspective on life. I said, you got to understand this, man. Wherever you go the rest of your life, first of all, and I give this advice to my children, to my friends, when you can learn something for free, you do it. Yeah. Doesn't matter what it is. I have this friend of mine who was like, yeah, I can take this job. I don't know if I'm going to like it. Doesn't matter. If you're going to learn to do that, that is something you have for the rest of your life. So, and that's exactly what I told him. I said, look, man, you're going to have to work really hard for 2 years to learn this. Yeah. You're not going to make any money because that is my investment in you. But after this, you can travel the world with a pair of clippers and a pair of scissors in your backpack. You can hang a sign on wherever you are. You do the first haircut for free. The moment somebody's in your chair and they see your skills, you will always have some weed to smoke, some junk food to eat, and a place to sleep. I said, the money will come. That's an extra. But you will always have this. And for a young kid that kind of was a street rat.
You changed his life. You changed his life.
Yeah. The quarter fell. He was like.
Also, you gave him a career.
That's it, man. If you give somebody a skill, you know, that is priceless. priceless for the rest of your life. That is something I very strongly believe in. So that's how we got Lau, and he became a great barber. He worked with us for 10 years. He now started his own shop. You know, most of our first team, you know, the OGs, they all started their own shop. Very successful guys. But the thing is, the second one we got, and it's a great story. We heard about this dude who was in prison, some petty crime, and but he was doing haircuts in prison. Now, I have always been like, man, if you do prison haircuts or army haircuts, these are all big dudes, man. You do not, you know, if somebody's in jail, you don't want to fuck up his hair. So I was like, so I told Lane, I said, hey, man, I heard this through some other guys. This guy's coming out of jail. So Lane and me, and Lane used to own this a Jaguar, a super cool Jaguar, and they were making a documentary about us. So we took the film crew and we literally waited in front of the prison for this guy to come out. So, you know, so we have this live in the documentary. He walks out with 2 garbage bags with clothes, and he comes out, we go like, hey man, you want a job? And was like, what? I said, well, you know, and he worked with us for almost 6 years. And again, a hustler, man. You know, they have some weird street charm that works. I once did a show in Mexico, and there were these 3 huge fucking guys in front of the stage, man. I was nervous as shit. There were a lot of people there, and I'm doing this hair show, and they were looking at me, and you know, they had the gang, the tattoos in their faces and everything, and they were just looking at me like, and I thought, fuck me, man, they're gonna kill me.
They were part of Cali Cartel.
Yeah, but that's what they look. They were definitely, yeah, you know. So afterwards, we're doing photos like we always do. So these guys come up, and they're fucking huge. And this guy, it's a true story, man. I'm like, okay, Lane, it was nice knowing you. Here we go. So this guy comes up to me. He goes like, dude, you changed my life with your videos, man. I watched them in prison, and I got out of prison and became a barber, because in that video you said, no matter where you're from, what you look like, you know, it doesn't matter what color you got, or there is always, you always got people like you, and they will always want a haircut. So you can be the most posh barber in the world, or you can be a lowlife that knows how to do a haircut, but there are always clients for your kind of guy. So, and he took that, and he had a tattoo of my face on his leg. He was like, look, man.
No way.
I was like, what? Yeah.
What did that feel like? I bet that felt a bit weird.
Oh man, the first time that happened.
I imagine it happens multiple times now then, does it? Your tattoo.
Dude, there is about a 60 or a 70.
Wow.
No, I'm not fucking with you, man. It's
no, look, listen, bro.
I never. Hey, dude, I am fully tattooed, right? And I would get a. First of all, I got Elvis Presley. Yeah. Now I'm not comparing myself to the king. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But you know. But the thing is, Fidel Sassoon is my hero. I would definitely get a portrait of. So if you're fully covered and somebody did change your life, and don't get me wrong, because it freaks me out every time. I'm like, one time this guy walks up to me. I'm actually in the UK. I think I was at Barber a Connect, and there was this young kid, man. He was nervous. I was having a beer, and he walks up to me and just pulls up his sleeve, and I'm there like,
well, he's got a full sleeve portrait of you.
Hey, dude, like this, and I'm just like,
was it good? Was it done good?
Yeah, that was actually a really good. There's some really bad ones out there, man.
That's what I was going to ask you.
There was one with a forehead. I'm like fucking Conehead, man. Mars Attacks, you know, that kind of stuff. But what are you gonna say, man? What are you gonna say when somebody rolls up to sleep and your face is there? It's the weirdest thing.
Us barbers are not primed for that type of fame, are we? You know, it's a bit like psychological with us, but it's good though. It's good to see that people really enjoy, like, you know, the barbering game, bro. And listen, I met you in Birmingham, 2015, where you were doing the show over there, and I was in your room watching the tour you cut in, and I thought to myself, you know, because obviously I wasn't doing stage work then. I am now, obviously, I work for British Master Barbers and, you know, other affiliates and so on. But, you know, watching you guys inspired me to do education, because I've been teaching for years anyway, but to go on stage and actually teach people my trade on a microphone. And I've done it every single, well, that year I seen you, I didn't meet you, but I was like in the third or fourth row watching you. But I was actually in the boxing shaving ring, and I was the first person in Birmingham to win a first shave in there. So I've got that accolade to my name, brother. But again, like, you know, what do you think of the shows, like, as in worldwide? Because I know you've traveled, you know, like have you been to Russia?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, talk about where you've been to, bro.
I don't think we got enough time, man.
Well, just skim over your favorite places.
I have been around the world literally for 5 times. I've been to Japan for 8 times. I've been to Australia for 6 times. Been to Korea, the US, Canada, Russia, Finland, you name it. And
Mexico.
I haven't been to India, and that was actually planned. You know, for 2020, there was a world and a half tour planned, man. I was doing South Africa, Asia twice, New Zealand. So I have been, and I still cannot believe it. I cannot believe that it happened. The first time we went to Thailand,
what was that experience like?
Oh, it was insane. It was so crazy because back then we were still, you know, the shop wasn't open that long, and this Dutch TV show was making a documentary about us, and we were still hustling. So the director was like,
you were a bit nervous to say.
Yeah, man. He was like, the director of that documentary was like, so guys, what do you think would be really cool to have in this documentary? And we were like, you know, we got a lot of fans on Facebook from Thailand, so we were like, let's see if we can get a little free journey out of this one, man. So we were like, you know what, it would be really cool to go to Thailand, man. We there are a lot of people that know us there. We had no idea, man. We were like, but they were like, oh, really? And we, yeah, sure, man. Yeah, absolutely. So they got us in a plane to Thailand, but we just wanted to go to Thailand. So we had no idea what was going to happen. And we were meeting up with these guys that we knew on a Facebook called the Three Brothers. The barbershop was called the Three Brothers. But we didn't know, man. So we had this big film crew following us, and we were going to their barbershop, which was in a train station, weirdly enough. So we go there, you know, and that was the first time that we were shocked. Again, watch the documentary and you'll be like, what? Because there were so many people there, and they traveled from all over Thailand, from the smallest place. Some traveled for 8-9 hours just to meet us. But you got to understand that it was super weird because Facebook was still growing. And when you're at home in Rotterdam, it was super busy. We were very successful in Rotterdam, but the internet for us was still, it's not something you can grab or touch. It's not like it's not something, you know, it's like with the money, you know, you have cash, which is like, yeah, but once it's out, it's something you can't touch. So the internet, I didn't know much, but then we found out that people knew everything, every photo, every video, and we were blown away.
Were you doing paid posts?
No, man, we didn't.
No, just generic posts, just getting people to share and tag.
Yeah. We started with 100 likes, and then it became 1,000, and then 10,000, then 100,000, then 1 million, and just by
you've had 1 million likes on what's that, one of your YouTube channels, is it?
Oh yeah. On the videos themselves.
Yeah.
I think there is actually a couple of ones that are over 10 million.
Yeah.
So
well, I've definitely watched it about 10,000 times anyway, most of them. So just with my students, like I said, it's a great platform to go to. But like with social media and everything, do you use the new platforms like TikTok and
no,
Lively and BitChute and all these other ones? You stick to the
I posted my first reel yesterday on Instagram, but one of the guys in my shop made it for me. So
do you have somebody look after your social media site?
yeah, I've done it all myself till 2 years ago. So I was addicted. It cost me my marriage. Seriously, I would be in the shop all day, and then afterwards I was addicted to likes, and I was addicted to the attention and everything. I gotten completely over that, by the way. I'm not.
Well, the scientists are saying now that being addicted to your phone is just as bad as having a drug habit.
Yeah, it is.
And it can actually be worse.
Oh, I definitely believe so, man. It's scary. It's really scary, and especially with the likes being almost like dollars or whatever. You know, people are. It's horrible, and you know, I can tell, but I see it myself every once in a while. I will be reading a book which I really enjoy, and I'm just like doing this, man. I'm just like doing this, and it's retarded, actually. You know, so now I just leave the phone in my bedroom, and then I don't think about it, but. Especially then, Facebook, before Instagram, Facebook was the shit. You know, before that, it was MySpace.
MySpace, yeah. I had a MySpace account back in the day. I met some amazing people on MySpace. People you don't even meet on Facebook. Most people on Facebook are negative, and you know, you'll put a picture up of like doing a shave or whatever, and people are like, you know, you get like about 4 or 5 likes, and then you put a message up like I'm selling the shop, and you get like 100 likes, and it's like, why do people like the negative posts but they won't like the positives? You know, even your family members. It's
horrible, and especially with the YouTube platform. So you do a video that you kind of want to give to the world, like, look, man,
for free. You're not getting paid for it either. People forget that, bro. We're in the industry of education where we charge for our services, and like, you know, like you were saying, go on, explain, talk about that, like what a negativity on YouTube. Go on.
Oh man, it's horrible. You know what? I make the videos because we got the fans, and there's a lot of people out there that really. I get the sweetest DMs, man. The sweetest. Like, oh man, that little trick that you showed me changed my whole way. That's what you do it for. But I am definitely that. Lane is completely different. But when we do a hair show for 1,000 people and 999 had a great time, and there is one that posted I was horrible, that fucker will be in my head all night. And that's all. When you go on YouTube, the hatred on YouTube is beyond words. And I'm like, why? I do not understand. I'm giving you something for free. I had 3 video tapes of Fidel Sassoon when I was 16. 3. They cost £400 back in the day. Lane and me watched those over and over and over and over again, man. And now you got the luxury of YouTube. I can go to my friend Farzad from Canada doing a shave. I learned so much from that, man. It's a luxury. It's a luxury. Some people go like, oh, you cannot learn how to do a haircut on YouTube. I do not agree. You can. I had a guy working for me. He learned so much from YouTube, but it's still practice, but it's there, man. I can learn how to do a recipe because of YouTube. What am I going to do? There's not enough salt in there, you asshole. Why?
Well, bro, listen, this is how I started perfecting my pompadours, watching your work. That's how I perfected my flat tops, watching your work. I've taken something from you, bro. And I've obviously, this is the first time we've actually spoken other than on Instagram. But listen, it's worked for me. You're a legend in the game. I love that, you know, you cap things up, and just don't let them deflate you, bro. Just don't listen. Like, if people comment negative about me, I just ignore them, and I just think they've got massive issues which they need to sort out. If they can't see what I'm trying to do and give back to the community, whether it's doing haircuts for the homeless like I do, or it's, you know, doing free education on YouTube, you know, and like I said, bro, you know, you've been doing it for such a long time now, at such a high standard, and you know, but people will just get jealous, bro, and sometimes we just gotta think, you know, that's their problem. They need to deal with it. I'm not being jealous of them. You know, if anything, if they put something up, I'll go, you know, okay, you could have done this a bit better, that bit better, but I'm not going to slag you off. I want to help you. Let's work together. The barbering community is very small, Rob, as you know. And again, I want to talk about brands. Rietveld, amazing. Robert Grosvenor, you know, my main guy, he absolutely loves Rietveld. Is that your actual company, or is that a company with sponsors?
No, man, that is my company.
Brilliant.
Together with our party in America, where it's made. It's an insane story. It's an absolutely insane story because Rietveld means lard, right?
Lord.
Lard, the fat from the belly of the pig.
L-A-R-D, yeah?
Yeah.
Got you.
So, see, first of all, I'm vegan. Yeah, there is no fucking lard, and there is actually people out there that go like, really, lard? And it's a joke. So I think it's a brand with a lot of humor, first of all. But I actually cooked up the first can of Rietveld in the kitchen of Schorem. This is really, it's as punk rock as it gets. I was like, you know,
what were the ingredients you used? What did you use?
I used beeswax. I used etheric oils. I used some emu oil, and I just found some recipes, you know. And it's really not that hard to make an oil-based product. Well, I'm saying that now, but actually the pomades I made absolutely sucked. But we were so naive that we actually thought we could make it, you know, fill up a couple of cans and sell 100 cans in Schorem. But this is really how it started. When we came up with the name Schorem, we partied hard because it was such a good name. And we still thought we were only going to be in Holland. We never could expect it to be known over the borders of the Netherlands.
So were you planning on calling your products the same, or like why did you?
No. Schorem is a stupid name, right? And everybody that was
that's the barbershop joke sort of thing. Yeah.
When I called my mom and I told her the name of the shop, she cried a little. She was like, I don't want anybody to call my son Schorem, blah blah. I said, Mom, they've been doing that for years. But the thing is, it was such a good. It was a great name, but everybody told us nobody is going to go to a shop called Schorem because, again, it means like assholes or dickheads or whatever, you know. So, but we were like, well, we think they do. So it became a success, big success. People waited for 6-7 hours to get a haircut. Some days 8 to 9 hours, literally in front of the shop. I mean, that's not anymore, but then. We were such a hype, it was insane. Now, the night that we came up with the name Schorem, we were like, maybe one day we're going to make a pomade and we're going to call it Rietveld, because it was funny as fuck, because we were like, wouldn't it be hilarious if somebody would go like, yeah, I got a lard in my hair. And so that name kind of stuck. Now, the thing is, back in the days, you know, the first pomades were actually made out of animal fat, bear fat, you know, blah, blah. So it was a wink to the past. We thought it was really smart. And Schorem became a success. So we were like, well, if people go to a shop called Dickheads, maybe they will put lard in their hair too. And it was just, they did, man. They did. It was super funny, but it just started in the kitchen. I almost burned down the shop one time, actually, because I forgot it was on the stove. Yeah, it's a true story, man. The flames went up to the roof. It was, oh my God, Lane was not happy with me that day. But
a lot of damage caused, and I take it.
Dude, I'm a fucking train wreck. It's just like, I'm so chaotic, and especially in those days, because I was just another, you know, I was out of control. And there was just too much happening, you know, ADD, but so loads of stories there. But then one day, actually, this very famous photographer came from America to the shop, and yeah, it's a really good story, but it's a really long story. But to make it short, you know, first we actually told him to screw up back to Chicago because, well, again,
you didn't like it.
I will tell that one another day, but it's
listen, bro. We're obviously, like, you know, we can carry on for another 20 minutes, no problem. Obviously, I'm not doing anything, but we'll do a part 2 with your team on anyway. We'll do like a part 2, like in a few months' time, definitely.
Absolutely, we can definitely do a part 2. But you know what? I'm going to keep this part short for you,
Go on.
just to keep it interesting, because this guy came over and we really hit it off in the end. You know, but the funny part was, you know, we gave him a really hard time till I looked him up on my computer. You know, he came with a huge team and cameras, and we had this and he rented the studio, and we're like, dude, fuck off. You're not going to get a studio. You can take the photos in the fucking basement, or you can. But then I Googled him, right? So I go, David, and you know what? His website comes up, and it's Al Pacino, Jack Nicholson, Macy Gray, and I'm like, you know, James Brown, Iggy Pop.
Heavy hitters.
These were all his portraits, and I'm like, Lane. Look, and he's like, oh, really? So Rob, you just stole one of America's best photographers, famous photographers, to to take photos in the basement, and otherwise you could screw up back to Chicago. I said, yeah, I think I did. But you know, he actually really appreciated that about us, because we were just being us. And he turned out to be, he once started American Crew back in 20 years ago, 25 years ago. So he knew all about grooming business, and he loved our shop. And in the end, we got along really, really well. He turned out to be a friend of the Fidel Sassoon, my hero. So I was just like,
there you go. You got your direct link to your legend, brother, definitely.
Oh man, it was insane. He was telling stories about him and Fidel Sassoon being in a sports car and the crazy shit. But so this dude goes back to America, and he calls us 3 months later, and he goes like, guys, I cannot get you out of my head. I want to be part of your business. And we're like, yeah, well, that's not going to happen, man. It's our business. And he was like, you know what? I don't want to be part of your barbershop, but I can help you with your products. And we were trying to make this product, but it was really hard. We couldn't find the right manufacturer here in the Netherlands, whatever. So
nobody wants to risk two barbers, and even with a successful barbershop, no big brands want to risk it today. And that's the thing with the Americans. The Americans will do it. That's Europeans, where these companies, they you gotta have licensing, you gotta get this checked, this done. There's so much red tape, and they just want to constantly keep paying all the time.
Well, you know what? That's part of it. But they couldn't make the product either, and that was our biggest.
Not to your standard, anyway.
Yeah, because we had a very high. We knew exactly what we wanted, you know, and that was
all too oil-based, I find.
Yeah, you know, we wanted the green and the red. Those were the ones that we wanted to start with. So, believe it or not, but 3 weeks later, we are in the plane to the US. And that was actually my first time going to the United States. So I was all like,
you were nervous.
I was nervous, everything, man. And then
doesn't it feel weird when you land in America? It feels like you stepped onto a new planet, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's strange. And then after about 10-20 minutes, you start to get back to normal. All your feelings come back.
Oh no, there was so many impressions for me there. It was just insane. And especially because we were going on a business trip. And I still couldn't believe it, man. I was not living the dream, but I was definitely living in a dream. And then we had all these business meetings, but I'm still this guy from the north of the Netherlands. I'm a farm boy, you know? So I'm like, oh my God. So I'm there in this huge office building, you know, there is this guy going like, yeah, we got to do this the first year and blah, blah. And I'm just like, nah, this is not happening. And then we got absolutely smashed on one night, and we made
running around the casino, go woo.
Oh no, that's another story. It was really bad, man.
Hey Rob, I gotta ask you, did you and Lane get to go and actually look at the manufacturers, like the actual factories of them?
Oh yeah.
Tell us about that, bro.
Well, you know, that was, you know, first it was making plans, you know, and the thing is, making a product is one thing. But the most important thing is that, you know, distribution. You have to get it into the shops. That is what people underestimate. So we build a legacy with our haircuts, and we did some really smart things, because I don't know if you saw it, but the logo of Russo was already on the posters.
The pig.
Yeah, it was on the posters, but there was no pomade. So what we did is we sent out a hoax on the internet that the pomade was only, you could only buy it in Rotterdam on Friday between 2 and 4. And you know what happened? You're not going to believe this. Cans of Russo were popping up on the internet. So people would actually cut out the logo, put it over an old can or whatever. And on these forums, they went like, oh, I got Russo and it's the best I ever used. And Elaine and me were like, no, you don't. It's not there. It doesn't exist. It is just a hoax. We were just saying shit. We were just lying, man. We were hustling. And in the meanwhile, it was being made. So we were building up tension and blah, blah, blah. And then it came out. And then we flew back to America, because now I fly to America like 6 times a year, you know, because that's where our headquarters are in Denver. That's where the office is. And but the first time we went to the factory, it's insane, man. It's like, it's huge. They make different products, and then they got your line coming out, and it's, you know, but as much as I love the factory where the product is made, you know what I really love? Where they make the cans. Because that is super.
The stomper.
Yeah, it's mechanical, man. You got these huge machines, and you see like one big piece of, well, actually it starts with a little, they roll it out and they print your logo, and then it goes through, it's been cut out, and it was amazing. And you know, we actually changed things in the pomade business, because do you even realize our water soluble product, the red, comes in a can, in a tin, but almost all the other soluble products are in a plastic can, because it has to, there cannot go any oxygen with it. So we actually invented a way to put a little layer of a rubber in the can.
With the seal.
Yeah, so it's sealed, because we wanted to have a can that outer ring cannot dent, but the rest of the can should be easy to dent, so it looked old and vintage and dirty. So, and you know, Lane, my business partner, and he is the smartest guy you ever know, because you know why the can's flat? Because in the Netherlands, if you order a can of whatever, when it goes through the mail slot.
Yeah, the mailbox.
Yeah, you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay the extras for a pack.
Yeah, because it's the skinny. Yeah, skinny. Yeah, that's a good idea as well, bro. Very good, man.
See, these are also, you got these two punks that are just like, and I am super creative, man, especially when it comes to hair. But then I got Lane, who's very smart with the business. So
you sound like you're a very good team.
Yeah, but we balanced it out. But it took 25 years of fighting and big fucking fights, you know, because if you got one guy that puts the money as the most important thing, and the other guy is more about, I'm not going to say quality, because Lane would not, he is the same about quality, but I am always like, I'm really about the quality, aesthetics. You know, it has to look right. It has to feel right. You should be
you are the figurehead of the business, though, brother. I will say that. You know, I know you and Lane are business partners, but everybody knows you first, and then it's Lane second. I'm not being disrespectful to Lane, because obviously you know, great. But what I'm saying is that you have to play that role for him to play his role. And
and you know, and it's so
tango in our game.
Hey, but I love that you talk about this, because you know what, Lane, when we did this, Lane literally told me, "You're going to be the front man. That is your role. I don't give a fuck about that. You know, I don't want to have a tank." He's got no Facebook. He's got no Instagram. But you know what? Everybody, because you're going, I like this. No disrespect to Lane. Nobody disrespects Lane. He is that guy. He's standing next to me, but nobody is like, oh, he's Rob's sidekick or whatever. You can literally feel that we are 100, because he throws out haircuts like a maniac.
I was going to say, he's a very, very good barber.
Fuck me, man. It's insane. He doesn't, I don't think he's done a haircut now in the whole COVID thing. He hasn't done a haircut probably in a year and a half. But when he gets on stage with me, he throws out 6 hair that are all like insane. You go like, me still go like, I always underestimate him. Always. My whole life, I'm like, oh my God, you're so good at that shit.
I think when I seen you in Birmingham back in the day, you were doing a pompadour and he was doing that. He was doing the flat top where it was like literally like 3 mil, and then going into like 4 or 5 mil, going towards the top. That sort of that sort of angle. And just watching that on stage, man, that's you've got to know how to do that haircut to pull it off. And a lot of barbers, they don't understand about how education is key. And I've noticed that if you go onto your links on your Instagram, you've got your courses, and that's what I'll talk about as well as your courses. And what you offer students, like, are you one of these educators who will work around the student, or have you got a set course and you say, right, this is what I'm going to teach you, and this is what I do, and this is what you're going to be learning? Because a lot of people, they know that you've got your niche and you've got your certain haircuts, because obviously your stories travel worldwide. Do you apply that with your training as well, or is it a little bit different?
No. When we got different courses at the old school, which is our the academy. Yeah, so we do a basic course where you literally start from scratch, and then we got the advanced course. But I think what's really strong with our academy is that we got 4 teachers on 10 students. So that is unique in the world, I think. So we have a class of 10 with 4 educators, so you get a lot of personal attention. But what we see is, I think what is strong in our academy is we try to build a bridge between hairdressing and barbering. So we get a lot of hairdressers that are scared of clippers, and we get a lot of barbers that are scared of the scissors. And this is just,
sectioning,
so that is very short, but that's what it comes down to, So for me, always when I do my demos, I'm like, you got to understand the haircut. It's one thing to learn that this is an open clipper and that's how you get a line out. That's a trick. But you got to learn to look at a person and see what is the best haircut for that person and how to get there. And that is not just fading, or that is not just, and that is what I really try to focus on. People like, I want to see what they're weak at without saying it, and nothing beats that when you see a quarter drop with somebody. And sometimes it's just a very little thing, what happens on the parietal ridge, what happens on the crown area. And you go like, hey.
The style of hair, whether they've got any indentations or they're receding, or there's so many different factors, isn't there, really?
And how you work with that. Our whole education is based upon the natural, because, you should, a great haircut should never need a product. The product is only used to make the hair look even better. So that is something that we really teach. Like, look, man, if you want to sell a product, you sell the product through the quality of the haircut. You got to understand this. So, and I think people find that interesting, because I want to learn them how to do maybe the best version of themselves. But I also want my students to make more money. And that is usually, especially in barbershops where you got haircuts and shaves, it's retail, but you got to teach them about retail, that they don't have to be a retailer. They don't have to be a salesman, but it's their duty to advise their clients. And once they find out that with great advice, their numbers go up. I mean, this is just an example, man. In Schorem, our retail is 34% of the complete. I pay my rent with that. And I sell a lot of Ruzel, but I sell Suavecito, I sell a Captain Fawcett, I sell Layrite, I sell,
You sell other brands as well, yeah, of course.
Fuck yeah, the only product I do not sell is No. Yeah, because that is a product I do not sell No. I always have a solution. I always have a solution for the problem you have with your hair. And I can guarantee that my product will make you look even better. So that is a thing that we teach too, but it's all got to do with the quality of the haircut, because 90% of the guys out there, this is what they do, man. They take products and they do this. That's what 90% of people do. So if you make sure that your haircut looks good when you do this, the next day they are going to blame your product. Yeah, whatever the brand is, doesn't even matter, but that's what you want. you know, but it starts with the hair. I think this shit is super interesting. So when I teach, people feel my enthusiasm, you know, so we never do like a lesson. We're really like, okay, man, what can you do with your shop? Because you know what people underestimate? If a client walks into your shop, the most important work is done. They know you, they know your brand, they know your shop, and you made them come in. You did a great job on somebody else. You did a great job on your social media. You did a great job on whatever you did to get the client in. Yeah. But now you got to make sure they come back. And that's what I'm going to show you.
Having a consistent clientele base is definitely key to running a successful business. But not just that, also having a consistent amount of people booking in for education.
Yeah.
And educators like myself, Robert, and like Robert Grosvenor, yourself, trying to explain to people is, don't just go out and educate once and don't see them again. Go out consistently, get the same bookings, make sure that you've got a standard which you suffice to, keep it going, level it up. Because the people who are doing education who aren't getting booked is you haven't got the right infrastructure around your courses. You're not teaching people what they want to learn. You're not teaching people the right way to learn. And then you're not also there, you're just feeding them with loads of bullshit. Let's face it.
Yeah.
Let's have it up. Yeah. Let's talk about that, because there's a lot of educators out there who are just full of shit, bro. And let's just you know, talk about that.
You know what? I don't actually ever talk about
we're not going to talk about people individually.
No. But you know, with what we've seen going on around the world, but people pick their educators. I have seen people that do great on social media, but you put them on a stage and you're just like,
yeah.
But
and I've seen people as well exactly the same.
Yeah, but now that I look back, and especially my younger days, I have shown some colors and shit to people. And I'm like, oh my god, did I really do that?
Listen, none of us are perfect, bro. But
it's a hard. I just, you know what I hate? When people are on a stage being uninspired. That is for me something. I'm like, really? You made it all the way up here? You got to give them everything you got. And even if you show them something that might not be perfect, that is a lesson learned too for people. You know what I mean? But you also see you can get wherever you want. But if people just go up there, and that's what really, I love my job. I love it so much. Actually, I'm working on something new. You are in my headquarters here. So I got all this material here that I'm working on. It's going to be absolutely amazing.
Nice. They look very, very like 1930s, 1920s.
Oh man, you don't know. This is the biggest project I've ever worked on in my life.
Well, listen. We're running out of time, so we'll go into that on part 2. Definitely, bro. Definitely.
Absolutely, man.
I literally got a couple more questions just to quickly ask you. I know you started using the Barberless FX. I imagine you got them from the US. The Barberless FX red clippers. How are you getting on with them tools, bro?
You know what? I'm gonna be very political here. It's not the tool; it's the hands that hold them.
There you are. Definitely, you're right.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely amazing clippers. But I love Wow. I love Andis. There are a lot of great companies out there. But I can do a haircut still with hand clippers and my scissors from. So you got to know other stuff, man.
And my other question is I was going to I should have really said this to you just before you went live, but your top 5 favorite barbers in the world. Have you got a top 5, or have you, even if you just got a top 2 or a top 3, like who, other than like Vidal Sassoon and so on, who we spoke about barbering, or like whether it's just, it could be somebody's Instagram, somebody's Facebook, somebody you've seen on stage.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be very careful with that because I'm always gonna miss out on people. But the people that I like Farzad from Canada, because for me he is the epitome of being a barber. He's just there for the people, and he's like one of the most humble people I know. And when you see him do a shave, you just go like. but I also have I really like the work of Sophie Stay Gold. You know,
She's amazing. I've got her clippers actually.
yeah, she is.
I did. I
I got
tested them.
I got those. I got those.
Brilliant.
They're actually the guys are fighting in the shop because they all want to hold Sophie. It's really really nice. But she's also I
I've
really
also got a trimmer as well.
yeah. It's great stuff, man. It is.
I'm a Babblish boy all the way. I am, but I used to
Yeah.
be Val. I used to work for Andis for a little bit, but Babblish, they just they're clippers. I order them from America, and they just something else, and they match my scissor set. I tend to find I've got to have the clippers which match my scissors.
Yeah.
When I'm cutting. Do you know what I'm saying, bro?
I know exactly what you're saying.
Let's talk about precision cutting. Let's talk about precision cutting. Like, let's talk about that because that's one of your techniques, and one thing which I took off of you, bro, is about precision.
You want to know who I admire when it comes to precision cutting?
Go on, yeah.
Paul Stafford.
Oh,
do you know?
Yeah, brilliant, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's actually a hairdresser now. He's a hairdresser.
And he is, and then you got Palmer, educator. I don't know what's his name is on Dov Palmer. Palmer something on Instagram. That guy, absolutely mind blowing. And you got this other dude, and it's called the Zagat Academy.
Oh, is this Zod the God?
Zagad.
Zod the God. Is he Russian? That
Something.
way?
It's ZGAT Academy.
Okay.
Oh man, you gotta look him up on Instagram. He blows my mind. Is
he the one who does the really crazy mullets, like where you?
No.
Like
yeah, no, yeah.
And it like come on the face.
No, dude. It's definitely hairdressing. It's like it's almost like Fidel Sassoon crossover with. I mean, he shaves away panels but it's very aesthetically right. It's very hard to do very extreme haircuts, but keep
Paul Mac about
what?
Paul Mac.
Paul Mac's amazing. Yeah.
You know Paul Mac, yeah. Paul.
Yeah. But so yeah, I mean, I have always, I see myself as a barber. That's what I want to do. But I got a hairdresser's heart. So I'm still, I think barbering can become very boring because everybody's always posting the same angle. And the weird thing is,
Rob, I gave up on posting consistent haircuts on Instagram because all it does is it waters down my Instagram, mate. Yeah, I'd rather do like pictures of me acting like a nutter and just doing stupid crazy stuff.
Well,
you get more likes.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with hair, even with barbering, you got to see it. Sometimes people go like, oh, your hair's over the top or whatever. I go like, yeah, but you got to see it. It's not pret-à-porter, when you want to sell fashion, you go to a fashion they overdo it. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm like taking shapes, overdo them, and give you something to think about in hair. That's what I love. But that is the only danger within doing that same haircut over and over again. I find it because for me, it's like, it's a craft, you got to repeat something to get really good at it, repetition. But then you got the other side of your brain, which is creative. And you gotta tickle that.
Tells you to do something a little bit out there.
Yeah. So, and you gotta find that balance. You gotta challenge yourself, And some people are challenged by running a business. Some people, not for me, man. I always have to have a project that I really can, and then I want to read about its history. I want to do research. I want to be contacting people that know stuff about it. I want to learn as much as possible and then make it my own. So whether it's movies or music or comic books or, I'm always like picking everything and trying to blend in. And that's what keeps me going.
You've got the heart of an artist, brother. Definitely. You've got the heart of an artist.
I hope so.
You think outside the box and then you implement it. And if it doesn't work, you change it up and you work at it.
Yeah, man.
That's a good ethos to have, brother. Definitely.
Yeah.
And then sort of, coming up to like sort of my last question now, really, what's next for you guys? Are you going to come over to the UK? If you do come over to the UK, make sure you hit me up, bro.
Oh, 100%, man.
listen, if you ever need somewhere to stay, bro, just let me know, man. I got a three-story gaff here. I'm here on my own, so come down. We'll have a big party, bro. I got the decks as well, man. We'll have a little mix. You know what I mean? Little smoke, little drink, bro. Let's get it going, man. Definitely.
Hey, dude, not smoking anymore, not drinking anymore.
Okay, well, we'll just have a cup of tea then.
There you go. Yeah, man. I am, for the first time in my life, I am completely
sober,
on track, man. I'm all zenned out,
Hey, listen, big things come to those who are sober, they say. Not those who wait, those who are sober. Those who are waiting are still drunk in the pub.
Man, I'm an advocate for partying hard. I will always be that. But if I didn't quit, I would have died, man. I know,
bro.
Yeah.
I know, we've all had that. Mate, listen, I battled with mental health over the years, demons. I lost my mum when I was young. I was suicidal up until the age of 25. I was battling some major demons. I went all spiritual at the start of 2020, and I started to find my inner self, bro. And I still have a little drink, still have a little smoke now and again, but nothing like I used to be, really. And concentrate on my business, concentrate on my haircuts, concentrate on my social media, getting any information out there, bro. And again, like I said, mate, thank you very much for coming on. We'll definitely do a part 2. I definitely want you and Lane on, and maybe someone else. We'll definitely get something going. Check out the channel when you get 5 minutes as well. There's loads of great interviews. Matthew Guerin on there, Grant Hackett, Chris Foster, Mark the Shade Doctor, Paul Devlin, who's probably one of the best hair artists in the UK. I'll be honest with you, I think he's better than Rob the Original. No, bro, listen, that's a lot. Listen, for me to say that, and I love Rob the Original. And listen, check out Paul Devlin on Facebook and Instagram, mate, and check out his Halloween pattern he did on some guy's head. You wouldn't. And there's no enhancements, there's no fibers, nothing. That's a clipper and a blade, mate. And I'm like,
I got to check that out. That's some insane stuff.
But brother, just last thoughts from you, really.
Dude, I'm far past my bedtime.
Same here. I know. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a really fun. You actually had some really good questions, man. I appreciate that. Normally, I hear a lot of the same ones, but this was a really fun interview. You kept me talking, which is a good thing.
Listen, I've been doing this for 2 years now. I'm getting quite good at this. So I want to get a nice little Spotify deal would be great. And I'm looking for a couple of co-hosts. I think you'd be great for one of them, especially representing the sort of, the east side of Europe for us. Well, it's Central Europe still, but, for us, I'm over in Wales. I'm on the far side. I'm with all the sheep, bro. But, Rob, thank you for coming on, and good luck to you. Good luck to you and Lane in the future, buddy. And like I said, I'll drop you my phone number and my address and my poster after this, and I'll send you a Sweeney barbershop cap over as well, limited edition with Grandmaster on the back. So
sweet, man. I will make sure you get the posters. 100%.
Brother. Listen, if you want any money from, I don't mind paying. I've got a few quid, as you can tell. So I don't want to pay you out, do you know what I mean? If there were a few quid, do you know what I mean? Hook me up, bro. Hook me up.
Don't worry about it, man. I'll hook you up.
Yeah. Listen, thank you very much, brother, and I'll chat to you soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Bye, mate.
Cheers.
Cheers, Rob. SweeneyTV, Sweeney HQ, Sean Swiss Sweeney. That was Schorem Barbier over in Holland, and great guy. Obviously, that was the first time I've interviewed him. We seem to get on really well, and more to come. Really, we'll definitely set a part 2 up with him and Lane, and let's get it going. Got a few people coming on next now. Next couple of weeks. So keep checking out the channel for that, and don't forget to watch our Ministry of Barbers show, which we did. Very informal for people who are watching YouTube for business information, and so on and so on. So, diolch yn fawr. Thank you very much. Sweeney HQ, Sean Swiss, SweeneyTV. We are out.